You're very welcome back to the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign, and it's now approximately 10 days since James Flynn has been denied bail, and obviously we know he has been sent back for retrial. We have broadcast, I think, a couple of lives in relation to what happened in the court with James, and everyone knows now that it looks like this man is going to be retried for crimes he was totally acquitted of. And he's going to be retried for crimes that was overturned and improperly handled by Judge Tony Hunt in 2024. Notwithstanding that, we have to move on with the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign. And as James's retrial comes closer, obviously that is when the campaign will get much more involved, highlight the issues that were missed in previous trials, and we move forward. And we are certain that when the information missed previously, when it is brought to light and dealt with on the floor of the court, James Flynn will be totally acquitted and totally vindicated. As happened with, again, must keep reminding the public, James Flynn has been totally acquitted of anything to do with the Modern robbery on the 25th of January 2013. His car, his BMW, his vehicle is seen in the square on Crossmaglen at the time of the Modern robbery. And that information was suppressed by the Garda Síochána and the DPP. Also, what we want to move on to now again is a subject we've covered in great detail before, but again, this man here, Mark Phillips, raised this very strongly in court on Monday last, the 28th of April, or Monday week, 28th of April, when he told us on the Monday that he was discussing the fact that the clips of Ronan Flynn's interview that was released on the social media platforms, and subsequently Ronan Flynn did not give evidence. Now, we've never been told why Ronan Flynn didn't give evidence. There's been no excuse or no reason put forward why Ronan Flynn didn't give evidence. We would have been more than happy for Ronan Flynn to give evidence, and we'll be looking at that now very closely when we listen to a recording of I had a conversation with Ronan Flynn. But Mark Phillips said on Monday the 28th of April that Ronan Flynn was critical. He was critical to the case against Aaron Brady. He said Ronan Flynn was critically important to the case. And obviously he told us, all he said in court on Monday week last, 28th of April, was that Ronan Flynn did not give evidence. No explanation why Ronan Flynn didn't give evidence. There was no reason in the world why Ronan Flynn didn't give evidence, because when Ronan Flynn came to give evidence, that being the case, the whole world would have known Ronan Flynn was giving evidence. But obviously, as you'll see, listen now as we move on, and we have told you before, quite clearly, quite categorically, An Garda Síochána released the video clips of Ronan Flynn giving evidence because they wanted to stop Ronan from coming forward and giving evidence in court, and that'll become apparent when we listen to this recording and break it down. So I just want to clarify this poster we have made here. Similar lies, very same lies, were told by Mark Phillips on the 15th of April 2024. So just want to update that now, and we will confirm that Mark Phillips repeated the lies, perjury and omissions on the 28th of April 2025. So just a year later, this person is paddling for his life and his career by peddling the same lies. Now, it's very important to note that although James's bail was denied, the intimidation, the judge has told us last week on Tuesday when they came back with their decision that this intimidation had nothing got to do with James Flynn. It just shows you the scum and the levels of depravity these people will go to create a false narrative. They were talking about something nothing got to do with James Flynn, nothing got to do with James Flynn's case, had no input, had no interaction in relation to James's case whatsoever. Yet this layer here, this man who committed perjury again last week, brought it up in court. But although James did lose his appeal, his bail application, that was turned down on the nonsense that he was a flight risk. He has 80% of his sentence served, and yet his bail application was turned down. But that appeal is going ahead next week, so hopefully James will be successful in that appeal and get back home to his wife and his children. So to repeat Mark Phillips from the 28th of April 2025, Ronan Flynn was critical to the case against Aaron Brady. He was critically important to the case, and Ronan Flynn didn't give evidence with no explanation. So what we're going to do is, I think I've broken this down into a number of little clips. It's a 20-minute conversation I had with Ronan, one of many, but we'll just go through them over the next few weeks as we move forward into the continuation of Aaron's case, the tendency to pervert the course of justice. And again, all this will be the work we will do now between now and June will be requesting, begging, asking the Flynn family to come forward and shed light on the truth on who was intimidated and by whom. So let's have a listen to the introduction and the first part of my conversation with Ronan Flynn, and I think this is in 2021. So it's 4 years ago now, and let's have a listen now. Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Ronan.
Hello. Yeah.
How's things, kid? It's Tony Brady.
Well, Tony, what's the story?
I'm all good. How are you?
Not too bad, hey. Just got a phone call there from a guy. I called the lawyers there, your lawyers, and they never got back to me.
Oh, indeed, that's possible. I'm recording this, Ronan. Is that okay? Just to let you know, because obviously you know the pressure I'm under. They're accusing me of intimidating witnesses and shit like that, so I'll have no bullshit with you. So I'm recording the conversation. I'm recording the call because you know that I was arrested for intimidating witnesses.
Yeah, well, they called me there to ask me was I intimidated. I said the only people that intimidated me was the guards.
Yeah. What is the situation, Ronan? I'm going to ask you anyway. I'm not going to believe anything you say, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Do you understand where I'm coming from? There's no bullshit or no icing on this now. Because of what you've said, because of what Daniel Cahills has said, and these people, my son's doing 40 years in jail for a murder he didn't commit. So that's my starting point now. And like, I need someone like yourself. I need someone like Christopher Morton. Like, Christopher Morton's fucking statement it's just riddled with fucking lies. We've two families that have to wait.
Mine was all lies, hey.
I know.
And they know that, but they wouldn't let it go until I helped them. And I don't even know how it was able to go up. That was able to go up in court anyway.
Yeah, well, so this is the reason now. There was a fucking mistake made with your video, but the guards released it. Well, that's my belief that Detective Patrick Riley released them video clips to stop you from going to court, because I think they knew you had spoken to our solicitors, you see. First 3 minutes of the conversation with Ronan tells us the world of information and proves, nearly from the beginning, first 3 minutes of the conversation proves that this man is a liar. So, just to run through some of what Ronan said there. So, obviously, I've made it very clear that I don't trust Ronan, and that the conversation is being recorded, and everything and any interactions we have will be recorded, because I don't trust him, because of what has happened. We must understand here, we were well within our rights to investigate Ronan Flynn and any person whom we know told lies to protect themselves in America, told lies in a Garda statement to incriminate our son Aaron, and tell lies to protect themselves. So therefore, our viewpoint of this is that we were fully entitled to investigate and speak to these people that are relevant to the framing of our son Aaron. So we cleared that up. The Tolan was cleared. We were cleared that all we wanted was the truth. I explained to him that we wanted someone like himself or Christopher Morton to come forward and tell the truth. And I said Christopher Morton's statement was full of lies, which we have proven beyond any doubt. Christopher Morton is a dirty, rotten liar. And Ronan tells us in the first 3 minutes, all mine was lies too. It was all made up. There's it there for you in the first 3 minutes. I mentioned that we talked about the tape being released, and I said we believed that Garda Pádraig Reilly released those clips of Ronan giving a statement to Mark Phillips, Paul Gill and Garda Pádraig Reilly. The Gardaí released the video clips because they knew Ronan had spoken to our solicitors, and he says there in that little clip, I was trying to ring your solicitor, they didn't get back to me. But that's covered more as we move on into this conversation. So let's have a look, let's have a listen to the next little clip.
Yeah, well, you see, nobody sees what happened before that video. This is what everybody doesn't see, you know?
Yes.
I have a video here of me getting arrested by them for no reason at all.
Well, I did see a WhatsApp message. I don't know who you sent it. I have it in my file somewhere that surrounded you.
Probably Mickey now.
Could it be Mickey? I'm not sure, Ronan. I'm not telling you that. I just can't think, just when you said it. And do you actually have that video? But I have it up. I can get it up in Boston again because I got a new phone, but I had it on my old phone. Could you send that video to me? Because they said in court that you came in.
Into my job, and arrested me, and then said, "Oh, you have a warrant at home and Ireland." I said, "What was the warrant?" They wouldn't show it to me. And they were like, "Oh, you're never going to see your fucking daughter again if you don't help us."
Yeah.
And they handcuffed me and everything. About fucking 10 cars. But nobody sees this. But the only thing that was released was the video and this and that. But nobody sees what happened before that.
I have no doubt, Ronan, and we've always believed, and Aaron's always believed that you were put under serious pressure. We never had any doubt of that. And I understand the situation you were put under.
So Ronan is now telling us nobody's seen what happened before those video clips were released. And nobody seen and nobody told us. This is the man that was there that day. He was there in the SUV when Ronan was arrested at work. He was handcuffed, and this man here, Mark Phillips, along with Detective Paul Gill, said, "You're never going to see your daughter again," and handcuffed me to the Jeep. So we have covered this before, but there's it from the horse's mouth. So everything this man said in April 2024 is a lie. Everything he said 28th of April this year in 2025 is a lie. He purged himself. He's a total liar. There's it there from the horse's mouth. It can't get any simpler than that. Now, and we have said to Ronan, like, we've always been very careful. We've always asked Ronan, we've asked Ronan's family to please come forward and tell the truth. Does that seem like the actions, the way we've behaved, the way I've spoken to Ronan there in this telephone call, is that reminiscent of a man or a family or a campaign who is trying to intimidate someone? It's quite simple, and I laid out the cards at the very beginning that I had been arrested. I went voluntarily to the Garda barracks in Carrickmacross, and was, as protocol, I was arrested in the foyer of the Garda station in Carrick, Complete waste of my life. But I will remind you once again, the Irish public, the information they give us that night, they give me that night accidentally, was that Ronan Flynn was caught with drugs in New York and was allowed to stay in New York. Notwithstanding that, I don't want to get off the trail of this conversation. So that's Ronan telling us what happened. And as he said, nobody's seen or nobody knows what happened because these people hid it. Okay, on to the third clip now, please.
You have a child there too, and your girl, and all them things.
I had nothing pending against me for nothing. And these they fucking were here ready to fucking ruin everything. And saying that I was never going to see my child again. You're going to do time home in Ireland. And then whenever I got the time to run, to get solicitors to run, to find out everything, it's fucking not a bean on me, nothing on me.
Right, well,
short little clip there, number 3, and I kept that one short because we must identify what Ronan's saying here. Ronan's saying there was nothing pending on him. And we've done a number of videos and in-depth look at Mark Phillips's affidavit, and we covered extensively, and we will mention it again in this conversation with Ronan as we go through. But Ronan is telling us that there was nothing actually pending. This extradition warrant, he maintains at this stage, and this is why I said at the beginning, I don't trust anything Ronan says, I don't believe anything Ronan says, and obviously I don't believe anything this man says. Because when you have two layers trying to protect their own interests, this is the cross wires we get. So it's very, very important we understand where Ronan's coming from here. There is the possibility that the extradition warrant was sort of generated to create extra pressure on Ronan. So I go on now in clip number 4 to explain to Ronan what we know and what we've been told in the court. So let's have a quick listen to clip number 4.
I'll tell you now, Ronan, what, as far as I know...
They intimidated me for everything, and they even went to my house. And then I told Daddy, I said, watch, whenever they go to the house, you fucking let them know. They don't think that you know. You let them know what they did.
Right.
And then whenever Daddy said it to them, they're like, so what did you arrest Ronan for America and have him handcuffed to the car the whole way down the road? They were like, oh, we never did that. And Daddy was like, well, there's a video of you arresting him in front of everybody at his job and taking him out.
And did they deny that to your dad?
Yeah, they denied the mommy and Daddy, yeah.
Sorry, that little extract is a little follow-up on Ronan explaining what happened. So this is why we've always reached out and asked for the whole Flynn family to come forward and tell the truth. This man here told us that the Flynn family were intimidated by us. That is what that man told the court. So Ronan says there that he let his daddy know what they had done to him, arrested him, handcuffed him in the Jeep and took him away. And when the father said, challenged the Gardaí about this event where Ronan was arrested at work, the Gardaí denied it and wouldn't interact with the Flynn family and with Ronan's dad. And again, Ronan says there, Ronan is looking for the support of his family here because of what has been done to him, and we understand that fully. And like he says there, that his mommy and daddy, his mum and dad, had asked what was going on and why was Ronan treated in this way. And this is where I give Ronan some idea of what we heard in the courtroom, which is obviously totally at odds with the truth. So let's have a listen to, I think we're into short clip number 5.
Okay, well, Ronan, as far as we know, as far as I know, the fact that I know is that there was an extradition warrant for you to be extradited from America back to the Republic of Ireland because you smashed Tommy Cahills' face. Now that's as much as I know.
There's nothing like that at all.
So they created...
There's no such thing as that warrant. And they couldn't, even if they couldn't extradite me anyway with a American citizen here.
Oh, there we have it. I put it to Ronan that we were aware of an extradition warrant that existed to have Ronan extradited from the USA back to Ireland in relation to a serious assault that took place in the Cooley Peninsula. Ronan denies that paperwork existed, and again, as we move forward in the conversation, we will see that he asserts that his mum and dad checked this paperwork out and it simply didn't exist. Notwithstanding that, there's another issue that should be highlighted here and mentioned, and as I have said, each word, every paragraph in the investigation, when we scrutinise it, we can show that there's holes and flaws in the investigation, there's tampering, there's all sort of collusion and coercion. But Ronan mentions he's married to an American citizen, and so he asserts that he can't be extradited, he couldn't have been extradited anyway. Notwithstanding that this brings us back to Daniel Cahill. And Daniel Cahill, who was caught with drugs in America, was married to an American citizen, and his paperwork wasn't filed, and yet he was also allowed to stay in America. Now, Aaron was married to an American citizen, and that didn't seem to matter one iota. Not one scintilla of thought was given to that. So it shows us, as we go through each and every paragraph, each and every relevant event, we can contradict the authorities' narrative. So we're going to continue now with quickly with clip number 6.
Well, this is what they peddled through the court, Ronan. That's I can only tell you what I listened to in court for 13 months or whatever fucking length of time we're in it, and we heard it several times.
I checked the solicitors. I have nothing against me there.
That's on.
That was pure shite just to get a go at me.
Right. Well, it took us a long time now. I'd have to say it took us a long time to get this information of them, and eventually the prosecution gave us some paperwork, and it said there was an extradition warrant for Ronan Flynn back to Ireland. Fuck me. See, it's hard to know what the situation we're in. So
again, Ronan tells us that this extradition warrant didn't exist. I explained to him that we were fully aware of it because of information we had attained from the prosecution, information that was hidden, and indeed the whole Ronan Flynn story was never fully disclosed to Aaron's legal team or to Aaron or to us, Aaron's family. So that will be no surprise to anyone. But again, it's to reiterate the stories this man has told and the stories Ronan is telling. Nothing matches up and is at total odds with the lies peddled by this man here. So let's quickly go on. Clip number 7.
I tell all this to your solicitors back, and they were like, okay, we're going to call you whenever we go to court and we're going to get you a statement. I was like, that's fine, let me know.
Right.
Nobody ever got back to me.
Right, well, I'll tell you what happened. We changed solicitors. We had Danny McNamee and Neil Manley. And in the middle of May last year, we changed because we weren't happy with the way Danny and Neil was investigating the information we were giving them. Like, Danny McNamee and Neil were supposed to contact you, and they never done it properly. And then we were just on the...
No, sure, like, how could they even... I don't understand how they send Aaron in, and they don't even have nothing. They're pure shite.
Are you watching my videos? Are you watching the videos and things I'm putting out? Have you seen that? The Justice for Aaron Brady thing I'm doing?
No, where's that?
Well, if you just go on to Facebook or whatever, there's Justice for Aaron Brady, it's on Facebook, and there's a website. Right. I think we have 15 or 20, and it'll just show you, Ronan. Now, I don't know what bullshit they filled you with when they lifted it. This is my opinion. But if you look at those videos, you'll see how they got away with murder.
As we have always asserted, that Ronan Flynn had spoken to our solicitors. Now, once again, we have explained that we changed solicitor, Aaron changed solicitors in May 2020, right in the middle of the court case. And this was coming right up. We were just entering the storm that was the American witnesses when we had the paedophile-loving, drug-dealing Daniel Cahill coming on board and the unfortunate Molly Staunton coming in to give evidence. our previous solicitors had spoken to Ronan, didn't follow it up properly. We did have discussions with Aaron's initial solicitors, and myself and Caroline were told that they weren't an investigative solicitor and they weren't going to investigate the information we were given to them. So, and again, I would say that it's solicitors are somewhat afraid of investigating or bringing someone to the court like Ronan, who's told lies, bad reputation, drugs, all sorts of issues, extradition warrants. But when it is put in front of everyone, people would have been able to see quite clearly what was true and the lies that was being peddled to this man here, because we have the video of Ronan's arrest, which is totally contradictory to what the state's narrative was and the prosecution's narrative was. And that clown, Pat Marry, who told us, as I've shown it before, him sitting at a lake in Ireland somewhere, saying that 5 people came forward. When we know all that is true, they were all arrested. So it's all lies, and it's perjury by this man here. And it goes some way to show, and I just mentioned to Ronan, we had started the campaign at that stage, and at that time we had 15 or 20 videos up. We have over 600 now. And this man here can't contradict any words we're saying. I can contradict every word that comes out of his mouth. If his lips is moving in the courtroom in Aaron Brady's trial, he's telling lies. If his lips are moving, he is telling lies. And that it is as simple as that. So that gives you some idea how far back it was. And I was asking Ronan to follow the campaign and see quite clearly what was happening. So just going now to the next little clip.
Just that. They're going off witnesses. I was in fucking America. I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
I was in America since 2010. Dano, whatever the fuck his name is, him and Aaron, he came in, he broke into our house and we were over here. Him and Aaron don't even get on.
Yeah.
So that statement should have been fucked out the window, because that's fucking clear lies.
Yeah, well, you can confirm that Dano was one of the boys that broke in, him and Anthony Maguire, that kicked the door in and gave Aaron the beating that night. Like, Dano denied that in court.
Whenever Aaron called us from fucking, me and Mickey were in the bar and we came over and we fucking had the place wrecked.
Yes. Yeah. See, he denied that in court.
And Molly, what's her face? She never even opened her mouth to any of us in the house.
Yeah, she never even spoke to us.
She's a weird little contact. She never spoke to nobody, never opened her mouth, never in the house.
Yeah. Well,
so I don't know how the fuck she fucking know anything. That's fucking a bunch of shit, eh?
Well,
more I hear, my sister informs me and everything. And over here, and I just, at this point then, I got that call from the guards, were like, oh, was anybody, were they intimidating you not to go home? I said, no, the fucking only people who were intimidating me were the guards. And then they were like, oh, never mind, okay, bye, and hung up the phone because they knew that they were getting themselves in shit. Yes. Fuck it, I stayed quiet long enough, fuck it.
So there we have it in a nutshell. That totally contradicts everything this man said. Obviously, Ronan tells us he was in New York in 2010. He tells us that Dano broke in the door and he was the man who attacked Aaron. A fact we have covered on numerous occasions. Daniel Cahill, Anthony Maguire, Ed O'Keeran and Davy Cushion attacked Aaron on a St. Patrick's night in Aaron's apartment, 28 First Street in New York. Daniel Cahill vehemently denied that under oath. And the reason he denied the attack was because the rest of his statement made absolutely no sense, having cosy chats with a man whom you threatened to cut his toes off with a Stanley knife. So Daniel Cahill is a liar. He knows Daniel Cahill is a liar because he is fully aware of the attack that took place that night. And just for some sort of context, Daniel Cahill knew nothing about this attack, and yet, as we have covered in previous videos, Daniel Cahill all of a sudden knew about a watch, a phone that was stolen, how the phone got back to Aaron, Ado had the phone or Davy had the phone. He sold his friend down the river, Cahills did, about who stole the phone and the money from Aaron when they beat him up that night in 28 First Street, just off McLean Avenue. He also speaks, Ronan also speaks there about Molly Staunton. Molly Staunton said she was part of the group. She was part of this. They went out together and interacted. Ronan tells us very clearly there, Molly was a little bit strange. She never spoke to anyone. She had no interaction with the group in the apartment in 28 First Street. None. So even Molly's assertion of trying to make this illusion and story that she was somewhat involved closely with the boys and that, no, not true. And Aaron always denied that. Molly spoke about being in the car, going places with Aaron. Never happened except one time. Aaron did pick her up, I think, on the edge of Manhattan and brought her home. Other than that, no interaction. So Molly's assertion, and we have always said was incorrect. Again, Ronan confirms that in a normal conversation, as you've heard there. Then he goes on to tell us again, Ronan mentions that his sister is keeping him updated. He knows that everything's wrong, can't understand how this case is continuing. And then he tells us, this is the important bit. Then he gets a call from the guards, and the guard, I think he tells me in a later phone call that this is a female officer that rings him and asks him, were you intimidated not to come home? And Ronan said, the only people that were intimidating me was the guards. And the Garda who was speaking to Ronan on the phone then hung up. End of conversation. So the only people that was intimidating Ronan Flynn was members of An Garda Síochána, not the Bradys or no one connected to the Bradys. And Ronan's final line there is, I've stayed quiet long enough, fuck it. So Ronan has been of the mind to come forward on numerous occasions. Ronan's problem is Ronan told lies to protect himself in America, and it's not an easy thing to put your hands up and say, I done this, I told lies, and my lies have been used to gain a conviction against Aaron Brady, a false conviction. Now, Ronan never came to court. Again, not explained. There doesn't appear to be any communications between An Garda Síochána and Ronan when the video clips were released. I stand to be corrected in that, but that's what it appears at this moment in time. So the guards knew, Mark Phillips knew who released the video clips of the interview, and Ronan never came to court. He was never asked to come to court. That would have been all the more reason. If Ronan was telling the truth, this would have been the ideal scenario, the ideal time. Come to court. Yes, Aaron Brady said these things about shooting the guard, robbing the car, guns and all this nonsense. Information that was all incorrect when we looked at Ronan's statement, notwithstanding that. And yes, Aaron Brady or the Bradys intimidated me. And Ronan Flynn, if one scintilla of what he was saying was true, Ronan Flynn would have been a hero. But you've heard from the first half of this phone call, nothing could be further from the truth. Ronan's whole scenario is a complete mess from start to finish. We have drugs, we have an extradition warrant, we have a serious assault, and then we have the guards becoming aware primarily that Ronan will be able to confirm that Daniel Cahills, the star witness, committed perjury and told a tissue of lies about the attack on Aaron. We understand, Ronan, you've stayed quiet long enough, and we will continue as we move closer to this nonsense of an appeal by the DPP for the leniency, they say, of Aaron's sentence, for a tendency to pervert the course of justice. Ronan, your mum and dad, as you've mentioned there, and your sister must come forward and say that the words uttered by this man in court in April 2024 and in April 2025 are lies. And the case against Aaron Brady is a total farce and a total fabrication, and Aaron Brady has been framed. And you can be the initial part of that. So that's the first half of the that's first phone call. There's a second half, and it reiterates everything we've just gone through. It clarifies, and Ronan repeats exactly what's happened, and he continues to repeat the same story through other conversations we have, which tells us that when someone's telling the same story continuously, that they are telling the truth. If you're telling lies, they forget. So please join us in the next video. We'll run through the second half of Ronan's phone conversation. Then we'll move on to other conversations we've had with Ronan, other text messages, and we'll look at Mark Phillips' affidavit once again, where Mark Phillips tells a tissue of lies about how Ronan Flynn was arrested or came forward, as he says. But he's a liar. He's a dirty, rotten liar. So we look forward to bringing that to you in the next video. Please, please, please like, comment and share. We've been very, very heavily censored. We do need your help to get our stories out there. Please like, comment and share. See you all in the next video. Thank you.